Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. Just doing a test drive with this Ford pick 'em up. Just put front brakes on it, pads and rotors. And the complaint on this, I don't know what caused it. It had a pad hung up in the slide and ruined one of the pads. I mean, just ground it down to nothing. And the rest of it was fine, honestly, but you replace everything. When you're dealing with the front, both sides have to be equal. Some people can get by with turning one rotor or replacing one rotor. I don't want the liability. I replace them as a set. I also don't do different brands because they cut them differently. Anyway, the customer was complaining. He says, I don't know what they put on there last time, but it just made a mess of my wheel. Well, when they make a mess of your wheel like that, most of the time what that is the compound that is used in the pad for manufacture. Years ago, they had asbestos in the brakes. You've heard that. Asbestos is bad. Very bad. Yeah, if you breathe it, which it grinds up into dust in the brakes, you end up breathing it. But what it was really good at was you could throw a set of pads on your rotors without turning them or anything, and they would seat in pretty quick and not make any noise. Well, when they started getting rid of asbestos, that's when you really started hearing the squealing and squalling brakes all the time, because people would throw pads on rotors that have not been machined in any way, and they would squeal. The material they make the pads out of became more and more exotic because they kept trying to get something that wouldn't make noise. Well, they have found it finally, but the days of the $10 pads are over. Now you're spending $50, $60, $70 for a set of pads for a little passenger truck. I'm seating them in right now. You know, get it going pretty good, and then pretty stiff stop. You know, don't lock them up, but get pretty hard on them, almost all the way down to a stop, and then take off. The reason his wheels were getting all coated, well, one wheel was dragging. That doesn't help. But most likely the last shop put semi-metallic pads on them. You got semi-metallic pads and full metallic pads. They do what they're supposed to do. They stop your vehicle. And unlike the old asbestos brakes, they don't fade. You know, your brakes get hot, they glaze, and they get to where they just won't stop you anymore. So that's another thing that the old pads were bad about. Glaze. They'll cook the outside layer and get so hard that you don't have any friction left. It won't stop. You know, it's like two pieces of glass sliding on each other. But anyway, what I put on this is ceramic. Yeah, like the tiles on the space shuttle, and like the amount of money they spent on the tiles on the space shuttle. That's why you don't get the $50 brake jobs anymore. It's just a thing of the past. I wanted to let everybody know that is why. There are reasons why. Can you get cheap brakes? Yeah, you can. And guess what? They're cheap brakes. They leave rusty dust on your wheels. They might fade. They might glaze. If you want the right stopping ability on your vehicle, go ahead and pay the money. Just a PSA. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.